If you're like me, you're probably a returning player who's come back to Helldivers 2 to fight the new Illuminate threat, only to find out that it is a lot harder than you expected and that none of your pre-existing go-to loadouts are effective against these voter-stealing bastards. Please return at once. We need help.
Get home. Get on.
We need help, please.
We are on difficulty 6 and we are not going to complete the objective. It is hell. Nothing works. They are way too strong.
Well, that was my experience anyway. So myself and 2 of my mates have been doing a lot of testing to find what we feel is the most highly effective loadout combination of weapons, armor, and stratagem to quickly eliminate the Illuminate and increase your chances of survival. And I want to share this with as many people as possible. So let's go over how we got to this loadout, and at the end I'll also share some helpful tips that should make your Illuminate runs a bit easier and more rewarding. Oh, also, most of this background footage that you're going to see is me and one of my mates testing this loadout on super Helldive difficulty. Firstly, weapons. For my usual loadout, I would run the Breaker Spray and Pray, Redeemer, and High Explosive Grenade. The Spray and Pray was really good against the voteless, but just didn't have the range for the flying guys or the camera drones from Half-Life 2, which basically meant I had to leave them all alone. The Redeemer was also great against the voteless and served as an excellent switch to this when I'm out of ammo and need to clear these guys out kind of weapon. As for my grenades, I was running around so much that I just never got a chance to use them. What we discovered is that the Plas 1 Scorcher completely ignores the armor of the Illuminates and deals huge damage to them, so it just shreds through the big guys and demolishes the voteless. It is also good for taking out the drones that alert the Illuminates and some of the dropships, especially if you shoot them in the eye. The impact grenade is also fantastic if you're being followed by a COD Zombies train and you just need some breathing room. Secondly, armor. The way I usually do things is light armor for bugs so I can run away faster, and heavy for automatons so I can tank shots better. Problem here is with light armor you get decimated, and heavy armor you also get decimated because you run out of stamina and are too slow to run away. So medium armor, right? Yes, but not just any armor. Specifically any medium armor with the medkit trait. +2 stims and +2 seconds to the stim duration has saved me countless times. We all run armor with this perk now. It is basically required in our eyes. Thirdly, stratagems. My beloved autocannon. Tragically, wasn't nearly as effective as I thought it would be, requiring way more shots, and because of the recoil I had to take my time aiming, which gave the Illuminates time to either move or to shoot or hit me. We tried a few different things, and what we ended up primarily settling on was the arc thrower. The arc thrower can be used to change shots between groups of enemies, so if you've got a train behind you or see a Left 4 Dead 2 type horde coming your way, it is an excellent and ammo-less way of clearing big groups of Illuminates very quickly. You can also stun enemies, which is excellent when you're fighting one of the big Strata dudes and praying it doesn't bite and blast you into the stratosphere. There is also a ship upgrade that improves the number of chains arc weapons can do, but it's pretty expensive to get. I don't even have it yet. But that just goes to show you how good this strategy is that you don't even really need this upgrade. If you don't want to keep accidentally killing your teammates with the arc thrower's unpredictable arc, the machine gun is also a really great way of dealing with hordes of voteless, but it is a little less effective than the arc thrower overall since it also struggles against the bigger Illuminate's armor. The Quasar Cannon is also apparently really good at taking down striders if you hit them in a particular spot. So if you and 2 mates bring one of each of these types of weapons, you should pretty much be sorted for everything. To help even more with survivability, the shield pack is just incredible. Yeah, that's all I really had to say on that. Bring the shield pack. Now this is where I feel like things get a bit more interesting. What do you bring for the last 2 stratagems? Orbital Precision Strike and the Orbital Laser. Not only are both of these really good for clearing out enemies and taking down striders, they are also fantastic for destroying Illuminate ship encampments. In some operations, I swap one of these with the machine gun turret if I know I'm going to be standing somewhere for a while, such as operations where you raise the flag. Otherwise, these are always a must, especially for blitz operations. And finally, 4th, boosters. This is entirely up to what you and your teammates have available, but I would always recommend Hell Pod Space Optimization, Vitality Enhancement, and Stamina Enhancement for maximum survivability. Expert Extraction Pilot is also an excellent booster for getting out quicker so you can avoid scenarios like this. Yes, it's landing! Quick! Run for it!
I don't know if it's gonna land because the thing's so close.
Nope. Come on!
In.
I'm the goal! You're in! I'm just that good. This shit is stressful. Trust me, that extra 15% where you just don't have to sit here waiting is a total godsend, and I feel like this booster is pretty underrated. So now that I've covered everything for the loadout, I have some tips I want to share. First and foremost, always go for SAM sites. Less ships in the air means less enemies on the ground, and SAMs are the best way of achieving that. They don't take long to get going, so what we do is have one person covering one side and the control panel operator watching the other side when they're not pressing buttons, and we easily get it every time. And as a bonus, it's pretty common to find the Not a Warthog here. Speaking of, always go for the Jeep. Being able to move around between objectives fast is not only a great way to stay alive, but it also helps avoid building up those long boatless trains. It also helps you get out of an area really quickly after completing an objective, which can be pretty dicey sometimes. If you see a Jeep anywhere on the map, go and get it. Something I've noticed doing the Illuminate operations is you can pretty easily get a lot of samples here. I frequently find rare samples around the drop point / extraction zone. The Monolith Sand, I'm sorry I'm about to call them this, the Fortnite Portal Beam Towers also seem to have a lot of rare samples around them pretty often. Well, at least that's where I tend to find a lot of them. You can also find common samples at SAM sites as well. During our Super Helldive runs, we noticed that samples were spawning more frequently around the borders of the map / outside of the town, and bonus objectives were appearing a lot out here as well. If you're hunting for samples, this is a very good way to do it. I already talked about this before, but the drones are really important to take down and are probably the highest priority target for us. If you see one, make sure to call it out to your teammates and either avoid it as best as you can or just take it down the first chance you get. It is entirely possible to duck around a corner and break line of sight of it, and if you do this for long enough, they'll forget about you and go back on patrol. I managed to do this by hiding behind the shuttle extraction beacon one time, but the majority of the time, as soon as one sees you, they'll pop the Illuminate flares and it's just over for you. So it's better to take them out with the Scorcher before it's even a problem. And lastly, and I don't think I really need to say this, but I will, always destroy the Illuminate ship encampments when you see them. Use your precision strikes and all orbital beams to take them out in less than a minute and then get out of dodge. It will make the game a whole lot less stressful, especially when you get to extraction time. I do try to save my orbital beams for extraction though, it's great for clearing out Striders. And that's kind of it. Give these a go and let me know what you think. Happy diving, Helldivers, and keep spreading that democracy.